Howard Stern Show.
So how are you and Pete getting along these days?
Great.
Pete, yeah, everything's good.
Really good.
The band is happy.
At this age, why wouldn't you just get along?
Exactly. We're having the last 2 tours we've done with our band. I think we're playing better than we ever have. And when you watch Pete Townshend play, and the way he plays, the guys from our generation, they've got something that these young... watch young guitarists and young bands. They're all very good. They're very slick, very everything else.
They're technically good.
Yeah, but they just do not dig in. They just do not catch fire like a Townshend. When he catches fire, and like when Hendrix used to catch fire, and when Page, those people catch fire.
Yeah.
A lot of them go through the motions, but when they catch fire, wow, you go, oof. So that's what it was all about.
Don't you think, too, the music industry was different? Like, for example, when the Beatles would come out with Rubber Soul or Sgt. Pepper's, and the Stones would come out with Exile on Main Street, didn't you as a band sometimes look at that and go, shit, now we got to beat the shit out of those guys, or we got to do something even more innovative and more aggressive and more great? Isn't that sense of competition helpful, too?
It was all helpful, yeah. But we, again, that was mostly down to Pete. We took a totally different direction. You couldn't out-Stones the Stones. You couldn't out-pop the Beatles.
Right.
So we found our own kind of way through it with a completely different kind of music. And when you listen to the Stones music, when you go to a Stones concert, they really... someone said to me, the difference between the Who and the Stones is that the Stones, they play at you. The Who play to you. It's to do with the lyrics and the music, the way Townshend writes, where the music comes from. It's a different part of us that comes out.
Yeah. And what a responsibility as a band to sort of find your own way and last.
But, we just got lucky that we found the genius of him.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, can you imagine if you hadn't hooked up and and you're sort of in another band, and I mean,
I've always wondered about that. Why, it was one thing him having that genius, but how did the tools to make it work come together?
And thank God he knew that he shouldn't sing those songs. Like, I've heard the demos of Pete singing those songs, and does that bother you, by the way, when they release the demos and it's him doing those? I mean,
no, I love it.
You do. Because to me, as a singer, I'd say, hey, those songs are imprinted with my name on them. That's the Who sound. And then why are we releasing the demos, which were the unfinished, sound? Maybe. No,
I love it because I think I'm proud of what I added.
Right.
There's an awful lot of bits of, and this is where we get into a grey area because it should really be publishing. There's an awful lot of added bits that I've added.
That you think make it... It's even like writing
on
the song.
Demos.
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
And that is interesting.
But when it does pee me off is when I hear other people then redoing the song and then copying what I done.
Yeah.
I really don't mind, anyone doing Pete's songs and doing them their own way. But if they kind of copy what I do, I kind of go... But there again, I should be... grateful, really.
But what about that? When it comes to publishing, I know Pete gets the publishing for the Who songs, but isn't there something to be said for when you get in a studio and you interpret a song? When Pete hands you a song, of course it's a finished song, but there's a certain interpretation that you put on it that Pete can't imagine. So in a sense, aren't you...
It's a grey area.
It is grey.
I don't mind that bit. It's when a line isn't there, when there's an ad-lib that isn't there, when there's that's the area I think it gets very, very grey.
So could you sit down with Pete and say,
"No, I don't care."
You don't. It would open up too much of a.
Yeah, we've too much of a wound, and he's too protective of it.
He'd say, "Hey, these are my songs, and you did this, you did that, but I don't care. It's my song."
To be honest, even the one I've written with him, which was Anyway, Anyhow, Anywhere, which I wrote a little bit of the middle eight. And you can tell lyrically, it's just a total different style of writing.
Right.
And we did that on stage at the Marquee. I've only just started receiving royalties for that because he sold his publishing.
Right. You finally got a little something. But you know, in a way, though, you're the guy who has to hope for a Who tour to get paid, because that's where you make your money, not from the publishing, but for and album sales, of course. But it's really touring where you make your money, right?
That's the only way. Yeah.
It's the only way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only way most bands nowadays make their money.
And there were many years where you had to sit there and say, Pete, can we please tour? You know, hey, you know, I
Well, I didn't. I got out there and got myself other jobs. You know, became an actor.
Yep.